On the 1st of June 2020, the battle lines of the American state were drawn up around the perimeter of the White House. Agents from the U.S. Marshals, the Secret Service, the National Guard, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, and the Federal Bureau of Prisons. They were armed with tear gas pepper balls, rubber bullets, riot shields, and batons. It was a few days after anti-racist rebellions swept through the United States like a bushfire, following the killing of George Floyd by a policeman in Minneapolis. There had been burning and looting in Washington, D.C. on previous nights, but all was peaceful in the Capitol on that afternoon as law enforcement agencies ventured out and started to confront protesters, shooting pepper balls and sting ball grenades containing rubber pellets into the crowd as they charged. Back at the White House, President Trump had just finished delivering a speech in which he called on governors to dominate the streets, or he would deploy the military to quickly solve the problem. With his speech delivered and the immediate surroundings now cleared, he walked the short distance to the St. John's Episcopal Church, clutching the Bible. In front of an invited media, he stood before the church for around 6 minutes, saying little and holding up the Bible as sirens wailed around him. "Is that your Bible?" a reporter asked. "It's a Bible," he replied. Some religious figures were livid. "Let me be clear," the Right Reverend Marianne Budd, the Episcopal Bishop of Washington, told the Washington Post. "The president just used a Bible, the most sacred text of the Judeo-Christian tradition and one of the churches of my diocese, without permission, as a backdrop for a message antithetical to the teachings of Jesus." Others who considered themselves religious were delighted. "He came out with that Bible," said former U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, one of Trump's earliest and most vocal supporters, who remained loyal to the president even after he had been fired and humiliated by him. And so all the Episcopal bishops said, "Oh, horrible," you know? But this was a defender of the faith. Sessions continued impersonating the Episcopalians to the New York Times in a mocking tone. "Oh, his heart's not right. He shouldn't have held the Bible up. Oh, that's malarkey. Just a bunch of socialist leftists." The rationale for Trump's photo opportunity was not difficult to fathom. As his response to COVID-19 was unraveling, and his rhetoric towards the Black Lives Matter protests became increasingly divisive, he was starting to lose support within his most loyal base, white evangelicals. 80% of white evangelicals had voted for him in 2016. A few months earlier, roughly the same percentage still approved of the job he was doing. But in the weeks prior to his short walk, he had been shedding support, and his approval ratings among that group had fallen to 62%. Given his behavior, personal history, and political record, even this seems high. True, he says, the Bible is his favorite book of all time, but he can't name a favorite verse, and when he was once asked whether he prefers the Old Testament or the New Testament, he paused. Probably equal. He has cursed at the National Prayer Breakfast and, on a campaign stop, tried to put money in the communion plate. He insists he has never asked God for forgiveness. If he did, it would be a big ask.